Hey everybody, how's it going? alecandstuff here, and I know I'm a little bit late, but Happy New Year by the way. I hope yours went well. Check out that snazzy new camera. I apologize for that strange gap between my last upload and now. I caught a pretty nasty sickness that's pretty much sent me into a coughing fit every time I tried to talk. But I'm back and I'm feeling much better. So, for the past week and a half of being down and out, I've been thinking a lot about that Nintendo Switch event that's coming up in, oh gosh, just a couple days at this point. It's an interesting thing to think about because on the one hand, we're going to be getting tons of information about the Nintendo Switch, which I, for one, am incredibly excited for. And on the other, we have what seems to be the last nail in the coffin, if you will, for the Wii U. With all of this in mind, I thought it'd be kind of fun to reminisce on my favorite games to come from the system over the past almost, can you believe it, 5 years. Goodness, how time has flown by. I mean, in that amount of time, one could have gotten their 4-year degree from a university. I mean, we've seen multiple World Cups and multiple Olympic events, and yet Breath of the Wild still couldn't finish development in that time. Anywho, without further commercial interruption, here are my top 5 favorite games to come from the Wii U. Now, on the surface, Nintendo Land may seem like nothing more than a glorified tech demo. Showcasing the possibilities of incorporating the Wii U's gamepad into smaller scale minigames, Nintendo Land takes several iconic Nintendo franchises and turns them each into incredibly fun party games. You know, I remember there being countless nights in which I'd have friends over at my house, and all we'd do the whole entire night is play this game. Our favorite attraction of the bunch by far was probably Mario Chase, where you've got up to 4 players playing as Toads trying to catch a 5th player who's dressed as Mario. The catch is, the player dressed as Mario is playing on the gamepad, so he can see where everyone else is on the map, whilst the Toad players are playing on the TV, and they have to rely solely on verbal communication with each other in order to pinpoint where on the map Mario is. It's crazy fun, and far from the only game like this in Nintendo Land, making it the perfect party game for those who own a Wii U. Zooming its way to number 4 on my list is Mario Kart 8. Now, you can't have a Nintendo system without a proper Mario Kart game, that much is fact. Mario Kart is a franchise that's been around for a while now, over 2 decades to be exact. And yet, despite this, Mario Kart 8 still managed to find ways to make the game feel new and fresh, and overall fun. One of the first things you'll notice when you first start playing Mario Kart 8 is how gorgeous the visuals are. Seriously, this game is stunning. Everything from the environments all the way down to the facial expressions of each racer, this game is the king of small details. Aside from looking pretty as frick, Mario Kart is ultimately about racing, and the game's controls are the tightest, most responsive the series has had to date. In order to avoid being here for hours, let me sum it up to you like this. Mario Kart 8 brings a lot to the franchise in the form of fun courses, amazing controls, as well as the concept of additional content through DLC, and at the end of the day makes Mario Kart 8 a superb addition to the Wii U's lineup. Splatoon. Let me tell you a little something about Splatoon. I love it. This game is an incredibly fresh take on the multiplayer shooter genre that's just bursting with charisma. If anything, let Splatoon serve as an example of something Nintendo really needs to consider doing more often. Splatoon is a brand spanking new IP that takes a genre that's been done an almost infinite amount of times at this point, and gives it that Nintendo feel. The Nintendo spin on it is what makes this game stand out from the crowd. Who'd have thought that we'd ever see a shooter game coming from Nintendo? Much less one that pits Squid Kids against each other in mini paint wars. I also love the amount of support this game got through free content updates, and not to mention the Splatfests, like the Dogs vs. Cats events. I just love this game. You know, Nintendo specializes in creating these fun, wacky, and highly addictive experiences. I love the characters, the colors, the soundtrack is amazing. There's just tons of fun to be had with Splatoon, and I look forward to seeing more of the Squid Kids in the future. As far as single-player experiences go, none quite caught my attention like Paper Mario Color Splash did. Serving as somewhat of a revival for the series, Color Splash does a few things well enough for me to forget the fact that partners still don't make a return this time around. One great example of this, though, is how well the game manages to capture the very essence of Paper Mario. Whether it be through the game's hilarious writing, bouncy and whimsical soundtrack, or impressively presented papercraft environments, every nook and cranny of this game is as Paper Mario can get. Plus, I know I already mentioned the game's writing, but I feel it deserves an extra spotlight because of how hilarious it can be. There were several points where I found myself laughing out loud by myself from something funny or just dumb that one of the characters said, which, now that I think about it, I must have looked really weird laughing out loud to myself in my dark room, alone, no one else around. Whatever, on to number 1. And taking my number 1 slot is none other than Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U. It should come as no surprise to a lot of people that this game is one of, if not the best game to come from the platform. I could go on and on about why that is, but I think it's perfectly summed up through what I've been saying since release. This game strikes that happy medium between casual and competitive. This is important because it means that anyone, whether they be a competitive Smash player or a total newbie, will be able to find some enjoyment out of this game. In addition to being incredibly accessible, Smash 4 is also just filled to the brim with content. There's close to 60 playable fighters and stages, an insane amount if we're being honest. Insane in a good way, by the way. A near 500-song soundtrack, and a wide variety of modes ranging from casual to competitive that are offered in both local multiplayer and online. Alright, let me put it to you this way. If you have a Wii U and somehow don't own a copy of Smash 4, you need to go out right now and get yourself a copy because there's something clinically wrong with you, and the only cure is Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U. And there you have it, my top 5 favorite Wii U games. It's really sad to see a system that I found so much enjoyment out of nearing the end of its life cycle, but I'm sure the Switch will bring experiences that are just as great, if not even more awesome than its predecessors. Gosh, I'm so excited for that event. Just a couple days away. But of course, those are just my personal picks. I know there's probably plenty more, and with that I ask, what are some of your favorite Wii U games? Are you excited to finally see what the Nintendo Switch is all about in a couple days? Just feel free to let me know in the comments below, as I'd love to discuss with you guys. And with all that said, of course, as always, I'm alecandstuff, and I will see you all again real soon. Bye!